If you can just click the wave icon in the bottom right-hand part of your screen, or maybe type in the message box where you're calling in from, it'd be great to know that you can hear us okay and see us okay before we get started. If you do have a headset, just a bit of housekeeping, it's best you throw one on. It's the easiest way to hear us. And we just, on behalf of Julie and I, want to say that we really appreciate you joining us today. We know some of us are back into some sort of formal lockdown in our part of the world. And hopefully we can inspire and educate you a little bit more with our Talk It Tuesday webinar series. Julie is the queen, she tells us, of Logan, and the most knowledgeable person from Logan and the Cache Valley. And she is our resident expert, and I'm going to hand it over to her shortly to take us through today's training updates. I've had the personal opportunity to explore Logan. I've dined and had a soda from Bluebird Restaurant. I took in some fresh turns at Utah's newest ski resort, Cherry Peak, and had an absolute blast with the people led by our queen that hosted me while I was there. So I hope that not far away around the corner with the vaccines arriving in Oz and New Zealand yesterday, that we're on a positive direction to return to international travel, and we get to go back and visit Julie in person. If you have any questions as we go along, where you're talking to us from Melbourne and Te Atatu and Auckland and Sydney and Ohope and Wellington and everywhere else, thank you for joining us. If you can just type your questions into the box, we'll answer them as we go along or at the end of the webinar. Before we start today, however, and I officially hand you over to Julie, we wanted to ask you a couple of questions. And for those of you that saw in our invite, if you answer the questions at the beginning of today's webinar and then at the end, you'll be in and eligible to win our Loving Logan gift pack, which includes award-winning Cafe Ibis coffee, a Logan mug, Lazy One hot pads, official cow socks, Squeezy Cow keychain, photography book, and more. So you should see the questions on the screen now, and I see many of you are answering. So question number one, answer right on the screen. Have you been to Utah? Yes or no? Have you been to Logan? Yes or no? And have you sold Logan to your clients? Yes or no? And then if you can hit submit at the bottom of the screen, we're just going to wait till the majority of you have answered. I see there's still a few outstanding. So just 1, 2, and 3. And looks like we're almost there. Great. All right. Well, that's great. So I am now going to turn today's training over to Julie Hollis-Terrell from Logan, who's going to walk us through all the amazing things about the Cache Valley. Julie.
Thank you, Corey, and thank you, all of you, for joining me today. It's a snowy, blustery day here in Logan. I understand that New Zealand's having a little bit of blustery weather as well, although I'm imagining your temperatures are better than ours. I do want to tell you that I had the wonderful opportunity to come on vacation to Australia and New Zealand a few years ago. I think Sydney is the most beautiful city in the world. And so if any of you in Australia could go out and have some pavlova for me, I'd feel really good about that. If you go out and have Vegemite for me, we will never be friends. So I'm sorry, that must be an acquired taste. I'm still working on that one. And New Zealand, so beautiful. I actually sang the song Amazing Grace in Waitomo Cave. How's that? Scary for the people who had to hear me. But anyway, I have really fond memories. I hope that you'll be as enchanted with Logan by the time we're done with this presentation as I am with your countries. So here's a little taste of Logan and Cache Valley with a little video. So if you'll just hit it, that'd be great. All right, so that's a little taste of Cache Valley, and most of the imagery that you were looking at is actually from the American West Heritage Center. I will talk to you a little bit more about that in a minute, but that's a great opportunity to step back in time and experience the past of the Wild West in the United States. I just wanted to clarify that in case you were worried that that's how we live every day here in Logan. We don't. All right, so you can see Logan and Cache Valley. Logan is the largest city in Cache Valley, and we have a beautiful landscape here. We're a high mountain agricultural valley, and so we are nestled in between two sets of mountains. And this map will give you a little idea about where we are located. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with where the state of Utah is located within the United States. We're certainly in the west, and you can see the big, large circle around Logan, and that is obviously indicating that we are the most important of anywhere in the state, at least according to what I'd like you to believe. So we're located about an hour and a half north of Salt Lake City. This is a great fly drive market. Fly into Salt Lake City, you can pick up your rental car and you'll easily be in Cache Valley in an hour and a half. And we've got some great amenities here. We've got some great opportunities here. And one thing that is also nice is that we are about 4 hours away from Yellowstone National Park and also from Jackson Hole, Wyoming, which is where Grand Teton National Park is. I think a lot of you are probably familiar with Yellowstone. Those of you who've been to Rotorua, you have experienced one hint of a taste of the magnificence of Yellowstone. It's so amazing. But we're really grateful to have such a close proximity, and it makes for a good trip to come to Logan, stay a couple of days, and head again on your way up to those two beautiful national parks. And we'll talk a little bit about a program that the state of Utah has come up with that's called the Yellowstone Loop. We are also about 5 hours away from the national parks that Utah is famous for in the southern part of the United States. I said United States, but I meant Utah. So we have 5 national parks down there. Those are familiar to you with all the red rock and everything. But here in northern Utah, it's very green. It's a very different landscape than what you've seen with those national parks. But either way, you can do a circle and see all of them and Logan easily in one trip. Let me point out to you now some of the highlights of Logan. Coming to Logan is kind of like stepping back in time to the 1950s. You can see part of our downtown area, these photos that are along the bottom. Excuse me. You can stroll down our main street and it's beautiful, has fun little shops and some little cafes, some great architecture. And we are home of the Bluebird restaurant. You can see on the sign since 1914. That's the oldest restaurant in the state of Utah. And it has an old time soda fountain that you can also see right there. That's a great place also for groups to come, but individuals as well. And they are currently renovating that building, but it'll be open by the time that you come back to see us. They serve their homemade hand-dipped chocolates that they've been dipping since 1914. So they've had a lot of good practice at making good candy. So you can have that there as well. You can also see our theater district, a little bit of it at least, in that third image. And we have 3 theaters in the historic downtown Logan area, just within a block of each other. And it's pretty fantastic. We're home to the Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater during the summer months. And the university also puts on performances at the Lyric Theater, which is the red building there. And you can see sort of that green little vertical sign that says the Utah. That was a theater that was built in 1924. Between those 3 performing facilities, the Eccles is the one where the Utah Festival is held. And I know these names don't mean a lot to you, but let me just tell you that the Eccles Theater is so beautiful and so opulent that if you were to walk in there, you would never believe that you could find a facility that beautiful and impressive in a town or a community our size. It seats about 1,100 people and was built in 1923. The other theaters are a little bit smaller, but during the summer months when it's not COVID, in 2019, we had 267 performances, live performances from mid-June to the first part of August. It's remarkable. Since the early Mormon pioneers came here and settled Cache Valley, they loved the arts and nurtured them. And so all the people who live here and their kids and grandkids and great grandkids all have a great appreciation for music and theater. And that's really a benefit to tourists and travelers and those of us who live here, because we get to experience the richness of that with internationally renowned presentations that tour year round. So that's a little bit about our theater district. We also have the brand new downtown Center Street area, which is the block that you're looking at, has just been reopened this last year. They widened all the sidewalks, added umbrellas for cafes, made it really just a beautiful, nice, inviting area. That would be for a group, so it would be a great place for a drop and scatter for buses, lots of little cafes there, and just a fun place to spend some time on your own. Now you can see on the right-hand side, this is the temple that was built by members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They were sent to Europe to study architecture, so that might be why you could look at that and go, oh, that looks like a castle. Well, that's the architecture they were studying and partly recreated here, but that is definitely a dominant icon on our landscape in Cache Valley. Now, people, unless you are in good standing with, if you're a member of the church and in good standing with your leaders, then you are allowed to go inside. If not, you're welcome to tour around the grounds. You can see the beautiful flower beds there, and the whole place is landscaped beautifully, and there's a beautiful view of the valley from there. So that certainly is an eye catcher and something that you wouldn't want to miss. Something that you'd want to try, I think, you can see on the bulleted list there, is the ice cream and fresh made cheese at Utah State University. We are home to Utah State University. It has about 13,000 students on campus. It's been around since 1888. And as I mentioned, we're an agricultural valley, and that's an agricultural school. So the reason why you see that or heard that some of the elements in the gift basket that you lucky winners will receive are having to do with dairy, it's because we raise a lot of cattle here, but because of that, we also have a lot of products, food products that are made here, and cheese and ice cream are two of the biggest ones. We're actually home to the largest maker of Swiss cheese in the United States. So I think that's pretty impressive. And then tons of ice cream as well that's sent all over the world, different varieties that are made here. So, but one of the favorite flavors is Aggie Blue Mint ice cream. And blue is one of our school colors, and Aggie stands for that agricultural college, which it was initially. And an Aggie is a farmer. So that's now you know all the trivia that you need to know to come to Logan and be able to get your ice cream. Okay, so then if we continue on, let's see here. Let me show you just a little bit about Cache Valley. So as I mentioned, Logan is the largest city in Cache Valley, and we have a beautiful National Scenic Byway that is 43 miles long. I didn't do the math to figure out how many kilometers that is. I'm sorry. However long it takes you to drive, about an hour, that's how long it is. But it is designated with that because its unspoiled beauty is just profound. And it's amazing the accessibility that you have from where I'm sitting in my office in downtown Logan to be in the National Forest. I can drive there and be having a picnic with ducks swimming around in the first dam, or be up there fishing or playing volleyball within 6 minutes drive from downtown. So anybody who wants to do any sort of outdoors activities, you can be in your hotel and 10 minutes later, you're in the National Forest. We have 267 miles of trails up Logan Canyon. And we have an extensive trail system within the city of Logan as well. So there are all sorts of difficulty levels and all sorts of experiences that you can have with hiking, but we also have great mountain biking trails. We have blue ribbon fishing. We have fly fishing. We've got just canoeing, everything you can imagine, and you can rent all that gear here. Now, the scenic road trip is mentioned on the slide with the Logan Canyon National Scenic Byway, and then animal encounters. You can rent horses up Logan Canyon, and you can see the horses right there conveniently on that picture for you. And they take you on a guided tour, and it has stunning views of Bear Lake, and just of the mountains themselves. Bear Lake is at the end of the National Scenic Byway, and it is a beautiful lake that is about 20 miles long, and that means really big. Sorry, I didn't do the math again. And it's known as the the Caribbean of the Rockies, because on clear days, the water is so blue that it will blow your mind. So you can go horseback riding up there and actually stay in a lodge. And you can also see elk during the winter months here in Cache Valley in a different canyon. The government pays to feed the elk because so many of them were dying because the snow gets so deep they can't get to their food. So they feed them. And then when it's not a COVID year, you can take a wagon ride, a horse-drawn wagon ride through the herd of elk and just see them up close, and they'll teach you things about the animals. It's really awesome. So also in Logan Canyon, let me mention, for those of you who are skiers, you certainly want to come and join us to go snowmobiling. We have usually top 10 snowmobiling in the entire nation. The same place that rents the horses, and they also rent side-by-side off-road vehicles during summer. But in the wintertime, they rent snowmobiles and they rent all the gear. And I mean all the gear, like your helmet, your gloves, your everything to keep you warm. So you could go up there in flip-flops and a swimming suit from Bondi Beach and be outfitted and be able to ride your snowmobile without freezing to death. So you don't have to worry about a thing up there as far as bringing your gear. Now, if you're coming to Salt Lake City for a ski trip, we have a lot of people who enjoy coming to Cache Valley or Logan, as I mentioned, about 90 minutes from Salt Lake, because we are home of Beaver Mountain Ski Resort. It is the longest running family-owned ski resort in the entire nation. And it's been in operation since about 1938. And it's really just the friendliest homegrown place that everybody's so nice and everyone's so happy, and it's a really different feel from some of the other resorts that you'll experience in Salt Lake City. We are also home to Cherry Peak Resort, which is another resort here that is the newest one in the state. And one cool thing about Cherry Peak is they're also open in the summertime for mountain biking. Like you can use their trails for that. You can take the lift up to the top and just look around and hike back down. But during the wintertime, here's the coolest thing. You can go inner tubing there, and they actually have like a moving sidewalk. So when you slide down to the bottom of the hill, you don't have to drag your sorry self clear up to the top again to slide down. They do it for you. How awesome is that? It's really, really long and really, really fun. You rent your tubes there. They have a nice lodge, just like Beaver does, with great food. And so you can go snowmobiling up Logan Canyon. You can go skiing up Logan Canyon. And you can also go skiing and tubing then at Cherry Peak, which is just in a different canyon. So it would be really great to suggest to your clients, if they're coming to Salt Lake for a ski vacation, they should certainly head north and experience the adrenaline of snowmobiles, and also just kind of the cooler, different feel of the ski resorts that we have here. Okay, so we have some outdoor swimming possibilities for you in a beautiful lake in Hiram State Park. You can rent canoes and go canoeing on the Bear River. We also have impressive bird watching here in Cache Valley because we're on a migration route. We have about 300 different kinds of birds that pass through here, and it draws a lot of tourists who are just interested in seeing the beauty of those beautiful birds. Okay, so now here's a picture I should have shown before. This is a snowmobiling. This is me. Not really, but I do enjoy snowmobiling, but that could be you. So that's from Beaver Creek Lodge. We also have Crystal Hot Springs. So if you'd like to have a warm soak after your snowmobiling or all year long, you can go to several different hot springs in the area. I mentioned the American West Heritage Center. That's one of our great resources for really experiencing the heritage of the Western United States. And in that area, it's an outdoor living history museum. So all of the people are dressed in period clothing, and they represent pioneers and mountain men and also turn of the century farmers. So it's kind of fun because you can go and experience all the activities. Say like with the mountain men, you can throw a hatchet, or you can feel the different types of furs that they would have trapped for here in the Western United States in the 1820s. You can learn how to build a fire with flint and steel. On the farm site, you can gather eggs or even try to learn how to milk the cow. I don't know how much she appreciates that, and she's probably traumatized from the time I tried to figure it out, but you can try that too. They also have some special festivals at different times in the year, baby animal days in the springtime and fall harvest in the fall. So those are some really great enhanced activities that they do at that time. Okay, so in addition, let's see here. Here is, this has just some pictures of some of the things that I was just talking about. On the left-hand side, this is from the American West Heritage Center. The old juniper tree is probably, they estimate, one of the oldest juniper trees in the world, and you can take a hike there. It's up Logan Canyon. You can see the beautiful Logan River here on the right-hand side, and that's where our great fishing takes place, and just beautiful photography, and the fall leaves are beautiful as well. Those are usually in September and October. Hiram State Park, you can see on the left-hand side. All right, and then let me tell you just about some of our housing, some of our hotels that we have available. We have Beaver Creek Lodge. We have the Best Western brands. We have Marriott, Comfort Inn, Hampton Inn and Suites by Hilton. The Marriott is going to be opening a new Town Place Suites probably on February 24th, I think, here with about 100 rooms. So we've got plenty of places for you to stay, and brands that you recognize and that are able to, book online. And so, this view that you can see right here, that is the temple that we talked about earlier, with a view of the Wellsville Mountains, that range that's behind it in our valley. And this is a view that's from up on the campus of Utah State University, just so you, I'm sure, now have your orientation straight. So when you come here, you'll know exactly. Here are some pictures of the hotels that I was telling you about. The Hampton Inn and Suites is across the street from me on the edge of the historic downtown district. The University Inn is up on the campus of Utah State. It's independent, but one thing that's cool about it is that every visitor who comes there gets to have a scoop of Aggie ice cream for free as part of their experience, and that's pretty much worth staying there in the first place. So you saw this is Beaver Creek Lodge up in the canyon, and then this is just a picture of our Best Western Plus. You're familiar with these kind of facilities. So let me just show you the Yellowstone Loop that I was mentioning before, so you kind of can have your bearings if you're interested in putting together an itinerary this way. If you fly into Salt Lake City, you can see the green line that heads to the north. You can go through Brigham City up through Logan, and you're circling up through Bear Lake, then clear up to Jackson. You do a circle around through Yellowstone National Park, and you come back down through Idaho Falls and Pocatello, Lava Hot Springs that way. You can also finish the loop, the southern component of it, in Park City, Vernal, where they've got plenty of dinosaurs and other cool geological history. And you can do a tour that way. But whatever that you want to do, you just definitely need to stay in Logan, because it really is an undiscovered treasure. In fact, Cache Valley, the word cache comes from the French that means to hide. And that's because the mountain men hid the beaver pelts that that when they captured the beaver, they would dry them and they would hide them before they traded them at the rendezvous. So they would hide them in what was called a cache, and that's why we're called Cache Valley. Okay, and I feel like I have just a couple more things. The one thing I wanted to hurry and mention that I didn't say it is that we have our Cache Valley Foodie Trek and Signature Products Tour. I mentioned that we have a lot of food that's grown or made here and sent out all over the world. And we are famous. We have the Cafe Ivis, renowned international coffee. We've got hand-dipped chocolates. We've got fifth generation beekeepers and chocolate and ice cream and cheese. Oh my! And we've put together this tour for you. It's self-guided, but you can go to all of those places and check things out. And I forgot to mention goldfish crackers. Do you know, Corey, do you have those in Australia and New Zealand? Little cheesy crackers that are shaped like a goldfish?
We know them well. We know them well, but we don't know where they come from.
Well, a lot of them come from right here in Cache Valley, Utah. The plant here actually makes them for all of the Western United States. So that's kind of fun, that foodie tour. Here are just some pictures of the area that you can see if you want to do the Yellowstone Loop. But of course, please take note of the very right-hand bottom picture, which is Logan Canyon. And now I'm going to skip to our closing slide, which is just Life Elevated. That Utah sign on the left-hand side is the theater that I told you about, where you can see classic movies every weekend. And so I think those are a few of my highlights that you can take advantage of when you come to Logan. I'd love to answer any questions. I'd love to have you come and visit. And also, I want to show you the official Logan cow socks. This is what you want to win. And also, since I knew that you might be coming here or sending people here in the wintertime next year, I brought my favorite winter hat. This is my snow blowing hat. And I wear this when I snow blow the driveway like I did yesterday. And for some reason, when I do it, it makes me sing out loud as I can. And it doesn't even matter what it is. So, but if you come here to Logan, you will love it so much that you'll sing out loud as much as you can too, no matter what season it is. Anyway, hope to see you soon. I'll send it back over to you, Corey.
Thanks, Julie. Great finale. Hey, I just thought I'd share with you, Julie, some of the comments. I don't know if you caught them all because you're presenting, but Suzanne said, and this is for the group as well, she skied Beaver Mountain and found it better than Deer Valley. So for those of you that have been to Deer Valley, that's a big call, but very cool for Julia's area. You've hit a nerve with some of the people that are missing their goldfish crackers at the moment, but we'll be back there to have some. And worth mentioning, Suzanne, sorry if I got your name wrong, the funniest theater play she's ever seen was Pickleville Playhouse in Garden City, Bear Lake.
Right, very good.
So that whole theater and arts thing is great. A couple of questions have come through. One question from Jeremy Bork was, where were those unique games the families were playing? What were those unique games the families were playing in the video?
Oh, those are actually pioneer games that were played by the early Mormon pioneers. They have like the wheel and sticks, and they're having a race to see if they can get the wheel across a certain line. And they have another game that is the ring with sticks, and they cross the sticks like this, put a ring over top of them, and then flip the sticks. And so then they toss it to the person across from them. They try to catch it on their sticks.
Cool. And are those at where? At the
American West Heritage Center.
American West Heritage
Part
Center.
of the hands-on component of the Pioneer Village.
Perfect. I also included a bunch of links for you guys who are on the webinar today in the chat box as we went along, but we'll also make sure we include all those in our follow-up DDM tomorrow, which will also include a recording of today so you can share it with your colleagues and consumers. We hear that people are going to sing loudly the next time they mow the lawn. She's inspired. This is great. So before we go, I know a lot of people on this call are going to want to win those socks as part of their Loving Logan gift pack, which includes a whole lot more than the cow socks. But to do that, you do need to answer the questions on the screen that are appearing now. So please go ahead and do that by, again, answering right on the screen. So Julie did a great job of trying to get these all in her presentation, so you should be all experts. But what is the name of that restaurant in Utah, which is the oldest restaurant and located in Logan? Question 2, name 2 wintertime activities you can do in Logan Canyon. Question 3, where can you step back in time to experience the life of an 1820s mountain man? Question 4, what self-guided adventure will help you get a true taste of Cache Valley? And it looks like many have answered, and we got still a few to go. We'll just give it a little bit more time. Just some awesome comments coming through for you, Julie, as well. You definitely made my morning today, or afternoon now. And thank you. It is President's Day in the U.S., and Julie has taken her day off to share with us, so we appreciate you doing that as well. One other question come through before we let you go completely. Are there any ranch stays in the area during the summer?
We don't have ranch stays exactly in my area. The closest one would probably be about an hour-and-a-half drive from Logan to the west of us.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. Just if you want to have the American road trip, if you want to rent motorcycles while you're here and do, just the landscape, the scenery, just being in the car and seeing the spectacular scenery is amazing. And I'm happy if you send your visitors here, but I'd also be happy if any of you end up coming to Logan. Just let me know. I'd be happy to make sure you have the best experience ever.
Amazing. Well, we're still getting lots of cool comments, and we'll share all these with you, Julie, as well. But guys, we will send the presentation out tomorrow. We'll provide Julie's contact information as well, so you can have direct access as webinar participants to the Queen of Logan. The last question, Julie, will just be, are there any supported multi-day hiking experiences in the area?
Not right now, as far as having an official guide, but I certainly could find one for you if you want to custom make something, no problem.
Cool. So with Jeremy, we'll connect Julie with you as well. But yeah, thrilled that we were a part of your day. We really appreciate everyone's support of our Talk It Tuesday Utah webinar series. And we will be following up, and yeah, hang in there for those of us that are in lockdown. Hopefully we'll be out soon, and before you know it, back traveling to Logan. We're going to leave you with one final taste today of Logan, Utah. Thanks again, Julie, and thanks everyone for attending today's session.